Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the Jesuit community. The purpose of my speech today is to invite the Jesuit High School class of 2019 to join their fellow alums in the joyful and challenging task of making the world a better place while being fulfilled and happy. This is best accomplished by learning to know yourself, finding meaning in your life, and learning how to best apply your unique talents and particular interest to the task of making a good life, making the world better, and doing no harm. I am grateful for my Jesuit education, which started me on the path of using the insights gained from a continual quest for life's meaning to guide my life's most important choices. I gradually learned if you focus on making a good life rather than making a good living, you will achieve a state of being that is more likely to manifest the physical wealth required to both live well and have the resources to help make the world better. Living well, being happy, and making a difference in the world is not a matter of how much wealth you have. Many people in the world are happy and make the world better without much material wealth. They have attained a state of acceptance and gratitude for whatever their life circumstances might be, and have the courage and determination to make the most of them. I encourage you to learn early in life that the gift of free will blesses you with the power to determine how you will react to whatever blessings and sufferings come your way in this life. You can choose to be grateful, be happy, and make a difference in this world, even when experiencing pain, suffering, and injustice, which all of you must endure in the course of a lifetime on earth. We each feel powerful desires to survive, for love, community, fulfillment, happiness, joy, to be of service to others, and to make a difference in the world. We know our physical bodies decay after we die, but are not certain what happens to our memories, our consciousness, our soul, and being. Yet in this life we can truly experience what it means to be one with God, and to co-create with God truth, beauty, goodness, and love. I believe this co-creation process is one that continues beyond the death of our physical bodies. But living a good life and being the co-creator we each intended to be through self-realization and self-actualization requires making hard choices, learning from mistakes, understanding and embracing suffering, working to correct injustice, fighting to stop exploitation of people and the planet, and overcoming the negative results of bad individual and group choices driven by greed, envy, and fear. Your progress on this heroic journey accelerates with finding the career path that best suits your unique abilities and interests, and with perhaps finding a life partner or friends to work with you along the way. You are soon to be high school graduates, young adults seeking to find their place in the world, hoping to live happy and fulfilling lives. It helps to have a vision of what you want to become and accomplish in life and work towards it daily with your thoughts, words, and actions. However, be willing to change your mind about your career direction when you become aware that there is perhaps a better path for you. It does not matter how long you have studied to become a doctor, an accountant, or an engineer, or if your passion for that career has died or was never there to begin with, then make a change. It does not matter how far you have progressed on a career path, the status you've achieved, and the money you're earning. If you're no longer learning and happy in that career, then make a change. Making career changes is far easier if you're not burdened with debts and obligations like supporting a family or paying a house mortgage. So if possible, be certain you have found the right career path before you undertake obligations which will force you to make career decisions based primarily on financial and family obligations. Always live within your means, which gives you the freedom to think and act in ways that will lead to happiness. If you chase happiness through consumption of material goods and pleasures beyond your ability to pay for them, or even if you can pay for them, then you will become a slave to desires and obligations that will not bring you happiness. I studied chemical engineering for the first 3 years of college because my father owned a good business in that field, and that I could join one day, and I had no better idea of what career path I wanted to pursue. I took an economics elective the second semester of my senior year and discovered an interest in the social science of how best to organize an economy and a society in order to achieve liberty, peace, and prosperity. I switched to an economics major my senior year and spent the next 6 years earning master's and PhD degrees in economics with a minor in philosophy. Along the way, I married Patty West, who I met at LSU in an abnormal psychology class my senior year. Patty and I became partners for life, but my career took a much different path than the one I prepared for. My final year at the University of Colorado in Boulder, while writing my dissertation on the philosophical foundations of classical liberalism and the role of entrepreneurs in a free market economy, I made two friends who had just started an herb tea company called Celestial Seasonings. They asked me to help them, and I started putting together the company's first financial forecast, business plan, and bank loan proposal. My friends had been going into the Colorado mountains to gather herbs in the summer, drying them in a friend's barn, blending the herbs and packaging them in cotton bags sewn by their wives, and selling those tea blends to natural food stores in Boulder and Denver. With our first bank loan, we began scaling the business, buying herbs from distributors, having packaging produced by a packaging company, and selling our larger inventory of products to distributors who in turn sold them to natural food retailers nationwide. So over the next year, while reading and writing about entrepreneurs and being a consultant to Celestial Seasonings and completing my dissertation, I became much more passionate about actually being an entrepreneur than writing about entrepreneurs. I decided to join Celestial Seasonings full-time, a business whose purpose was to offer healthy alternative beverages to soft drinks. Upon graduation, I turned down offers to become a college professor, a career I prepared myself for the previous 5 years, to become the CFO of Celestial Seasonings. Instead of an academic salary of $45,000 per year and summers free to read and write, I chose to invest our life savings of $10,000 into Celestial Seasonings, earn stock options, and accept a starting salary of $3.50 an hour, and work at least 60 to 70 hours a week. Thus began another 5 years of intense learning as Celestial Seasonings grew from 25,000 annual sales to 25 million. Along the way, I had to self-educate myself on how to build a business, reading finance, accounting, marketing, and management books, and through learning by doing with interactions with vendors, customers, competitors, accountants, bankers, lawyers, venture capitalists, and insurance agents. My first business venture was rewarding on many levels. In particular, I discovered a passion for helping to start and build ventures that create jobs and wealth, fulfill unmet social needs, and help make the world better. 45 years later, I continue on that path of working with like-minded social entrepreneurs to start and build for-profit and non-profit ventures. That address the myriad social, environmental, and economic challenges in the world. My life's journey also included 30 wonderful years serving as an entrepreneurship professor at Tulane. I retired from Tulane a few years ago, but continue to give guest lectures and meet with students to discuss their venture ideas and career plans. I continue to invest and work with early-stage entrepreneurs to build great companies, but reserve more time these days for reading and being with family and friends. I learned much along the way and still continue to learn. In business, I learn more from failures than the successes. In relationships, I learn more from listening than talking. Reading continues to educate and delight me. My deepest, most challenging, and fulfilling learning these days comes through cultivating a state of awareness and observation. Meditation and attempting to be in a state of gratitude are invariably rewarded with a sense of grace and peace. Yet there is no room for complacency. Living a good life through the quest for fulfillment, self-actualization, transcendence, cosmic centeredness, peace, and happiness is a journey that includes failures, mistakes, and facing ever new challenges that require humility and patience. And the only way to prepare for the final challenge in this life of dying a good death is to be prepared at all times for when it ultimately arrives. That preparation for me is guided by the ancient wisdom of dying now in terms of everything I'm attached to, a discipline that requires continual effort and one that is easier said than done. I by no means have answers for you to life's mysteries. At best, I can offer you lessons I have learned so far and some book recommendations from authors who have inspired and guided me. At your table is a list of recent books I've read with quotes from each that I hope you find of interest. As I said before, the three priorities of my life were seeking to know my ever-evolving self, finding meaning in my life, and learning how best to apply my unique talents and particular interests to the task of making a good life, making the world better, and doing no harm. Socrates said, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom," and ageless insight, as know thyself, was the motto inscribed on the frontispiece of the Temple of Delphi. There is no simple way to do this. What works for me is to devote time each day to silent meditation where I simply focus on my breath, observing and releasing the unending thoughts that come and go. I also always attempt, though frequently fail, to observe my emotions, desires, and urges to speak and act in response to all that happens every day in my life, and to reflect on how and when I want to react in word or deed, if at all. This mindful, meditative approach to living may at times slow down the pacing of my life, but I find that it results in bettering my intentions, words, actions, and resulting outcomes. There are many forms of meditation, and the practice goes back thousands of years. I practice Vipassana meditation, and if you are interested, you can use guided meditations on YouTube and start practicing it, or participate in a free 10-day retreat. I put the link to the Vipassana website on your handout. Finding meaning in life is my second priority. The vast majority of humans on this planet find meaning in stories and myths. The stories behind the major religions are based on the lives and teachings of holy men and women who may have been of a higher divinity or nature, but the stories themselves were written by mortals. These stories and myths are valuable tools to help organize societies so that they might achieve peace and prosperity. Examples of some of the most powerful organizing stories and myths are the major religions: Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Zionism. And the major socioeconomic systems, liberal democracy, imperialism, plutocracy, communism, fascism, socialism, and nationalism, are also stories based on practical experience in the social sciences. Religions and socioeconomic systems usually work in combination to provide the organizing principles, institutions, and inspirational ideas that help nations achieve varying degrees of stability, peace, and prosperity. However, these same stories and myths throughout history, and still today, are at times misused by those in power as tools to exploit their own citizens, damage the environment, and foster wars against others who are not of the same religion, ethnicity, or nation. In truth, the most important question facing humans is not what is the meaning of life, but how do we stop the suffering? To effectively answer that question and reduce the suffering on this planet, more people need to move beyond the fictional myths and stories they rely on to provide meaning in their lives and to embrace the truth about themselves and the world. When nations and the planet reach this level of evolution, enlightened citizens of nations will demand more aware leaders, who in turn will be more inclined to work cooperatively with other nations and their own citizens to address the global challenges before us that require global solutions. It is a fundamental truth that people are stronger together than apart, whether that be in sports teams, businesses, communities, nations, or the world. In the past 100 years, we have learned much about the evolution of life on planet Earth and the position of Earth in the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way has at least 100 billion planets, and in the observable universe, astronomers estimate there are at least 100 billion galaxies. And the physical universe continues to evolve and expand. Just as life on Earth, its inhabitants, societies, and individual and social consciousness continues to evolve. I am certain that the conscious beings on Earth are not the only conscious beings in the cosmos participating in this divine cosmic dance of purposeful evolution. A big unanswered question for all of humanity is, does cosmic evolution have a purpose? And a question each of us must answer for ourselves, as we have the gift of consciousness, is what is my purpose? I believe what many wiser than me believed and guided their lives by, that our purpose, your purpose, is to be co-creators with the infinite, destined to help perfect its perfection through the manifestation of truth, beauty, goodness, and love. Well, enough of the big thoughts, you say. I'm 18 years old, about to graduate from high school, trying to figure out what to major in college, and hoping to find a fulfilling job one day and happiness now. Which brings me to my third priority, making a good life, making the world better, and doing no harm. Advances in information technology and artificial intelligence are rapidly changing the nature of the workplace. Many good jobs today may be replaced by algorithms using machine learning and neural networks that will do some tasks better and cheaper than humans. Developed nations can now produce enough goods and services for their citizens to live comfortably. Yet those nations have not found the means for both providing meaningful jobs for everyone and ways to equitably distribute the wealth created, enabling all their citizens to experience comfortable and fulfilling lives. Advances in both biotech and healthcare are creating the potential to radically increase a human's lifespan and to intentionally design superhumans. These societal and ethical challenges arising from these developments in infotech and biotech will require global cooperation to resolve. Yet these advances in biotech and infotech, along with increased global cooperation, will be the keys to resolving the challenges facing the world today. Career opportunities and business opportunities abound for you in solving the global challenges of effectively addressing climate change, resolving immigration issues, reversing and cleaning up environmental degradation, and resolving the problems and ethical dilemmas posed by infotech and biotech, while realizing their potential for good. Other good career opportunities for you are in the fields of agricultural technology, healthy foods, education, preschool care, elder care, computer sciences, cybersecurity, healthcare, and housing and infrastructure construction. To date, my most successful business ventures have been in healthy food and beverage companies, natural foods retailing, and environmental cleanup and restoration. But my current ventures that are rapidly growing now are in music hardware and software, the Internet of Things, and in biotech and artificial intelligence. That's where the future lies for you. Likely your success will depend on a commitment to lifelong learning and a willingness and flexibility to change your career several times along the way. I am hopeful that career opportunities in healthcare administration and health insurance will be on the decline. Healthcare costs in the United States are already high relative to other developed countries, while with better healthcare and systems continuing to climb. Yet we can deliver better health care in this country with less bureaucracy, a greater focus on healthy eating and lifestyles, and a stronger emphasis on disease prevention rather than treatment. I also hope that the military and defense industries will see job declines. The U.S. and other developed countries are caught up in spending far too much on the weapons in their militaries. This needs to be reversed in your generation to free up the resources to address the real challenges facing the planet, rather than growing the weapons industry and the military to soothe the fears of people that political leaders are stoking in order to get and keep power. The military-industrial complex is a powerful global business and political force which must be reined in. Despite the global challenges we face, lurid headlines and prophecies of doom, humans and nations continue to make remarkable progress. Data shows that life expectancy, health, prosperity, safety, peace, knowledge, and happiness are all on the rise worldwide. It began with the Enlightenment 250 years ago and the conviction that knowledge and science can enhance human flourishing. That said, we're admittedly facing a very challenging period in society and the world. Capitalism, combined with a liberal democracy, is the best system yet designed for organizing a nation's economy and government. However, it is a system that clearly needs fixing. In the United States and other nations of the world with similar socioeconomic systems, there are stark disparities among their citizens in both wealth and values. Capitalism is doing a great job of creating wealth, but not distributing it in a way that promotes social stability. Self-reinforcing spirals for both the rich and the poor are further increasing disparities in income. Pure capitalism does not divide the pie well, and pure socialism does not grow the pie well. Moreover, increasing conflicts among populists on the left and populists on the right, exacerbated by increasing income and wealth disparities, are leading to societal instability around the world. What will get us through these challenging times? I do not think secular humanism, rational science, capitalism, and liberal democracy alone can solve the problems confronting the world today. The keys to global peace and prosperity will have to come from evolving individual and societal consciousness and awareness, international cooperation, and connection with the divine. Many intelligent people mistakenly believe two things. First, that eternal cosmic divinity is merely a useful hoax, providing a compelling force and substance to the religious myths and stories that serve to organize cohesive societies that are vital to global stability. Second, they believe that the human brain is driven entirely by electrochemical and biochemical stimuli, and I lost my last page. Well, what I wanted to say in conclusion is I do not believe that. Your brain is not solely driven by electrical stimuli and biochemical stimulus, and divinity is not a hoax. My challenge to you is to connect with your divinity. And whether you do that through practicing a religion, meditation, conversations with friends, reading, whatever it takes, do it. Find a way to connect with the divine in you. And in doing that, you will come to know yourself. You will come to find the best career path for you in life, and you will find a way to really contribute to making the world better. So go out there, connect to the divine. That's the most important thing you have before you for the rest of your life. And go out there and be men for others. Thank you.